Yo, so the Bravado Buffalo EVX has just been released, and in this video, we're going to be going over whether or not it's worth picking up in GTA Online. So starting off, the Bravado Buffalo EVX is the very first electric muscle car within GTA 5 Online, and you can find it on Legendary Motorsport for a little over $2.1 million. Now, when it comes to customization options, this car ain't anything special to be honest, nothing major. You've got your typical upgrades for stuff like the bumpers, hood, roof, and you can also add some louvers in the back, so that's pretty cool. But pretty much just your standard customization options for a car. But what really makes the Buffalo EVX stand out is that it has a Monty Tech upgrades. And if you don't know what a Monty Tech is, it's basically defensive upgrades that you can add to a vehicle. They really come in clutch against griefers and free mode lobbies. So if you own an agency with the vehicle workshop in it, definitely make the most out of this car and upgrade it there. You can throw on armor plating, which is going to help keep your vehicle nice and protected from those dickheads on Oppressor Mark IIs. Then there's the actual Amani Tech itself. Now there's two options here, but the one you're going to want to throw on is the missile lock-on jammer. What this does is prevent anyone from locking onto you with homing missiles. So definitely a W right there when it comes to free mode. And then lastly, we have slick mines. What these slick mines do is basically when someone drives over them, they release oil or some shit on the floor, which causes that person to slide out a little bit. These are going to come in clutch when you're in a chase, whether that be with the cops or actual players. So yeah, I'd say that they're worth it. Now, one reason I would say not to get them is if you want to use the Buffalo EVX for time trials. You cannot use any weaponized vehicles for time trials, and these slick mines are technically a weapon. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You also cannot go into passive mode when you have slick mines equipped. I rarely ever go into passive mode myself, honestly, but hey, if you're someone who does so, then just keep this in mind as well. Now, one more major thing to note about this car is that it can be upgraded into an HSW vehicle. If you have no idea what HSW vehicles are, they're a class of vehicles within GTA 5 Online that are much faster than other ones. But in order to turn the Buffalo EVX into an HSW vehicle, you're gonna need to take it over to the LS car meet and pay $1.4 million for the HSW upgrade. Yeah, this car ain't cheap. And unfortunately, this is only available to next-gen players. So if you're playing on an Xbox Series X or S or a PlayStation 5, then you'll have access to this upgrade. But if you're playing on an Xbox One, PS4, or a PC, then unfortunately you will not have access to this upgrade. L move on Rockstar's part, but it is what it is. Now let's go over the durability of this vehicle real quick. First up, for the windows, these are not bullet resistant windows. Even when you're shooting at the louvers in the back, it does absolutely nothing in terms of protecting you. It's purely just a cosmetic thing, so yeah. And then upon my testing, the Buffalo EVX can take up to 11 rockets from an RPG. When it comes to homing missiles, it's the same exact number, taking up to 11 homing missile rockets. But then when it comes to railgun rounds, this car took up to 27 rounds. So just from that, we can see that the Buffalo EVX is definitely going to do a pretty good job at keeping you protected when in a free mode lobby, so that's dope. Now, as for the handling, I spent a good hour and a half just driving this thing, so I think I have a pretty good feel for how it handles. For a muscle car, this thing drives so smooth, like I really like the way it handles. Like when I was going on the highway zooming in between NPCs, it felt buttery smooth. Before the EVX, I always felt that the Buffalo STX had the best handling for a muscle car, because if you guys have ever driven the STX, you already know how good that thing drives. Literally feels like I'm driving a sports car with the Buffalo STX. But now with the Buffalo EVX, shit, I think this car might have slightly better handling, but just by a bit. And then for the acceleration, it definitely takes off faster than any other muscle car in the game. I mean, it's an electric car, so that's expected, but if we're gonna compare it to another electric car, this thing doesn't take off as quickly as something like the Ocelot Virtue, for example. The acceleration on that thing is just absolutely insane. If you know, you know. Now let's go over the speed test. So I actually went ahead and bought two Buffalo EVXs, one of them having the HSW upgrade equipped and then one without the HSW upgrade, since I know there's still a lot of players who are on last gen or on PC who don't have access to that. Rockstar, you guys really need to hook up my PC people with HSW, come on now. Anyway, the non-HSW Buffalo EVX managed to finish the straight line race at 1 minute and 35 seconds, getting closer to 1 minute and 36 seconds. Whereas the HSW upgraded Buffalo EVX managed to beat this straight line race at 1 minute and 19 seconds. So obviously based on that, the HSW upgraded Buffalo EVX is definitely worth it if you're on a next gen console. Now when I tested my Buffalo STX, it managed to come in at 1 minute and 35 seconds. So it ended up coming in slightly faster than my non-HSW Buffalo EVX by less than a second more. And of course the Buffalo STX gets absolutely smoked by an HSW upgraded Buffalo EVX. Now I also tested my HSW upgraded Vigero ZX. This car finished the straight line race in 1 minute and 13 seconds, making it the fastest out of all the other cars we tested. I'm pretty sure that the HSW upgraded Vigero ZX is the fastest muscle car within all of GTA 5 Online, coming in at 157 miles per hour, so yeah, no surprise there. However, the HSW upgraded Buffalo EVX was not too far behind it, coming in at just 6 seconds after it, so yeah. Now that we've got all that out of the way, let me go ahead and give you guys my honest opinion on this car. Is the brand new Buffalo EVX worth picking up? Well, honestly, that answer kind of depends. If you're on a last gen console or on PC, I think you're gonna get way more out of buying the Buffalo STX instead. They're pretty close in terms of speed and handling, and the Buffalo STX is about $500,000 cheaper than the EVX. On top of that, the STX also has machine guns in the front. Now, they aren't exactly the best machine guns in GTA 5 Online, but they do a pretty alright job. And plus, it's a feature that the EVX does not have, so yeah, overall, that car is gonna be a much better bang for your buck if you're on last gen or on PC, at least in my opinion. However, if you're like me with a next gen console, I think that the EVX gets much more appealing. If you're looking for which car is faster, then that's going point to the HSW upgraded Buffalo EVX hands down. That HSW upgrade just makes it perform way better in comparison to without it, and like I said earlier, the handling feels a little bit better than the STX in my opinion. But that's just talking performance and functionality wise, because if we're talking about the appearance, this thing is fugly as hell, like god damn. I mean, I made it look kinda good with the all black build and the red guts, but nah, my Buffalo STX and Gauntlet Hellfire will forever be my holy grails. But hey, maybe you genuinely like the look of this car and want to buy it. Again, it's much better on next gen because of that HSW upgrade, but regardless of what platform that you're playing on, I think that the Buffalo EVX is a solid choice performance wise, and it'll definitely help keep you protected in free mode. Now, the Buffalo EVX is a pretty expensive purchase, especially with all those upgrades, and you may not have enough money for it just yet, but hey, don't trip, I got you. If you're just starting out in GTA Online, you're gonna want to click on the video on the left side of your screen. But if you've already been out on the streets of Los Santos grinding for a little bit now, then you're gonna want to click on the video on the right side of your screen. That's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.